Let's give it another minute to see who else comes in. So if you have any questions as I go through quick search and kind of getting started in Flex MLS, feel free to write whatever you want to in the chat box. I do have it open on my second monitor here, so I will be able to answer your questions for you.
And he had been seeing some homes with, but she hasn't showed.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Jared with Metro MLS. We are going to be going through kind of getting started in the system. Mandy had indicated that there's a decent amount of newer agents in there. So we're just going to go through, again, if you have any questions, feel free to enter them right into the Zoom group chat. I will be monitoring that as we go through things, ask as many questions as you want. So I just want to start off by showing you a few things on the dashboard here. So right where it says menu, to the right of it, you can see I actually have like a favorites bar. You have the access to this as well. So you can add whatever features you use on a regular basis to this to really help save time. If you want to access this, all you have to do is go to your menu. And you can see I've got these yellow stars to the left of my different items here. I can add items or remove items just by hovering over it. I get the little star pop up. I can click into that, and now you can see my saved searches up here at the top here. So I can go in and add as many of these as I want to. I also can go over to the right-hand side here where it says reorder. And if I click on reorder, it's going to allow me to hold and drag my items around so I can customize that however I want to. We're going to be spending a lot of time today in quick search, showing you how to use that feature to get the most of your time out of it. But first, we're going to input a contact in case you haven't done that before. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my contact management. And this is going to list all of my contacts that I currently have that I'm working with. So it's got their name, any activity that they've done in the last 7 days, whether their portal's on or off, their primary email address, listings to approve. That is if you're using the preview feature on subscriptions, which we are going to get into subscriptions. So we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that then. If there's any listings to approve, those will be in here. Any unread emails to that customer, you entered in their phone number, that'll appear here. Last time they got a subscription email from you, how many listings you sent to them, and then the last time that they actually were active. So if you want to add a new customer, you can use the quick add just by typing in the person's name. I'm just going to call this one color, last name test, and enter in an email address for them. If I wanted to them to have access to the portal, I could turn that on right away. We're not going to get into portals today. I will just let you know what that is in case you're kind of not familiar with it. Basically, a portal allows you to kind of create a library of listings for your customer. So anything you send them, whether that's a manual email, through a subscription email, or a saved search, it's going to take all those and basically archive it inside of your customer's portal for them. They basically have a login, just like if you were logging in to do online banking, they would log in and be able to see all the properties that you've sent them, no matter what format they came from, as long as they came from Flex MLS. So I could go ahead and do my listing this way and just click on add. It's thinking. So now you can see this is actually my customers, all my customers' information. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and click on edit contact. And from here, I could add additional email addresses just by clicking on this little add star here. The one thing that's important to note is the primary email address, that is going to automatically, all the subscription emails will go to that primary email address. If I wanted to add a secondary email address in, I can enter it in here. If I wanted to make sure that this contact is, this email address gets those notifications as well, I want to make sure I'm putting a little checkbox into this notify box. And then I'm going to click on Save Changes. So you can see I've got this little bell icon in front of both of these email addresses. I'm going to go ahead and just take off that notify. Click on save again. Now you can see I only have the one bell icon. So that's just letting me know at a quick reference that this one is not going to be on a subscription email. Okay. It also will show me the last email activity here, and then also what their opt-in status is. So basically, when you set a customer up for the first time, they are going to get an email saying, yes, I want to receive emails from this email server. So they will have to opt in. You can see this one's inactive, but if they hadn't opted in yet, it would say pending. If they had opted in, it would say opt in. Okay, you do have the option to resend them this link one time. If they still don't do it, we as the MLS can send it again on your behalf. Our next tab over is going to be our activity. So it's just going to show what listings they viewed, if they've shared any listings, and kind of just give you a graph on those. I'm going to go to searches and subscriptions now. This is where we're going to start off by doing our search to actually create a subscription for our customer. If I wanted to, I could start off, just by going directly to quick search, doing my search, and then connecting it to the customer later on. But since I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and within the searches box, I'm going to click on add. So if I already had a search set up, I could select one and add it onto them. However, we're going to go ahead and create a new search. So I'm going to use this create new quick search. So in quick search, all of your menu items are going to be on this left-hand side here for you. So you can go ahead and put in whatever information you want that you're going to be searching on. At the very bottom, there's this add a field to the search. So if I want to add a criteria that's not a part of this menu tree here, I would just go down here, select in. It's going to give me all of my fields. But I also, if I'm looking for, let's just say a farm, I can just type in the word farm, and it's going to bring up all the different related fields to that word farm. So if I want to just add a hobby farm on here, I can go ahead and click on hobby farm, and you can see on the left-hand side, now that's going to add it into my search criteria here for me. So this is where you would go to add in whatever additional criteria you wanted to that wasn't already pre-crash printed into these. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of the hobby farm just by taking off that little checkbox. So let's actually do a search here. So up top, I can select my property type. I'm just going to leave it as single family. If I did already have an address or an MLS number or a map overlay created, I can go ahead and enter that information here. We are going to go through how to create map overlays, especially since most of you are in the North Shore area. There's a lot of different neighborhoods. It seems like every couple hundred feet, the neighborhoods can kind of change. And let's say you wanted like the historic Third Ward. And you typed in Third Ward as part of your criteria, but the listing agent did not use that criteria. You're not going to get any results. So that's where overlays come in handy, because it actually allows you to draw out that area and then just say, this is the area I want to be working in. So we're going to go over overlays in a little bit. Right below that, I can go ahead and select what the different statuses I want. So if you're doing a CMA, obviously you're going to want to do active, delayed, pending, sold, probably withdrawn or expireds. And then right below that, it has see all and select date ranges. If I open that up, it's going to allow me to actually put in my different date ranges. Or let's say I just wanted to look at the last 30 days of information. I can, instead of having to do the date range, there's these little double arrows. And if I click on these double arrows here, you can see it changes it from actually having the date range. And if I click back on it again, it actually just allows me to put in how many days I wanted to go back. So if I was doing a CMA and I only wanted the last 45 or 60 days of information for expires and solds, I could go ahead and just change that information. So I type it in 60, and then it sets the days here for me. So it's only going to show me properties that have expired in the last 60 days. I can do the same thing with pending and sold. The one here on my screen, contingent. This is how, if you wanted to remove properties that are currently active with offer, this is how you would go about doing removing those active offer properties. All you have to do is click on the box right where it has the with offer. You can see it highlights it here for me. It automatically puts the check mark in here. And right now it says contingent of with offer. So these are properties that only have accepted offers on them. In order to remove them, I'm just going to go ahead where it says of, click on of and change it to not of with offer. And now it's going to remove those active with offers and just give me those properties that currently are just active in the system. From here, I can select my counties. If you're using a PC, your control key is going to allow you to select multiple counties. If you're on an Apple product, you're going to want to hold down your command key, I believe it is. It's going to allow you to select whatever counties you want. And once I have those counties selected, it's actually going to narrow down the municipalities within that county for me. So from here, I could go ahead and select whatever municipality I wanted to. Or if I just, let's just say I wanted just Whitefish Bay, I didn't want to have to go ahead and select my counties, I can go ahead and just type right in to my municipalities. Whitefish Bay. Put these off. Try that again. Okay, let me clear out my screen here. Okay, so if I wanted Whitefish Bay, I can just start typing in Whitefish. I can select Whitefish Bay. Now it's only going to be looking in Whitefish Bay for me. I could also search by zip code if I wanted to. And then obviously below here, we do have the list price, sold price, bedrooms, bathrooms, number of garage spaces, all that information that you're going to want when you're doing your search. I'm going to leave it very vague right now, just because for our purposes, it doesn't really make a difference as long as we have some results. You can see in the upper left-hand corner where it says view results. Right now it's showing that I have 60 results. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on those 60. And this is everything that matched my search criteria. Again, right now the only criteria I have in is the fact that it's in Whitefish Bay. So let's say I get my results here and I'm looking around at it and I'm not too big of a fan of my results and I want to make some changes. Never use this back button on your web browser. Using that web browser back actually will get rid of all of your criteria. What you're going to want to do is in the right-hand side of your screen, this upper right-hand corner, where it says Edit Search. If I click on Edit Search, it's going to bring me right back. It's going to remember my current search criterias. And then from here, I can go in and make any changes that I want to. We're going to get into some of the drawing features that I find are really, really helpful. Again, in that North Shore of Milwaukee area, there's a lot of different neighborhoods. The one we get questions on a lot is what's the best way to search on Bayview. Bayview is a postal municipality, but it's not a taxi municipality. And a lot of people actually will use Milwaukee for the postal municipality instead of actually putting in Bayview. So I'm going to go ahead and actually change my criteria just so we can see this. I'm going to go to add in my postal municipality. So for my postal municipality, I'm going to go ahead and select Bayview. So you can see right now with Bayview selected, I get 0 results. That's because the listing agents have all used the postal municipality of Milwaukee instead of Bayview. I'm going to go ahead and just clear out that piece of information. I'm going to show you how you can use the map overlays actually to get the properties in that area. So in the upper right-hand corner where it says overlays, I'll go ahead and select that. From this dropdown, anything that's under MLS, these are basically crash printed in pieces of information. They're really not usable for you as part of your search. However, they do show you the boundaries of those different areas. So you actually can go in and just follow the line and draw those yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my neighborhood mapotics. And you can see all of these gray areas with the white lines around them. These are all the different areas, different neighborhood names that you actually can go ahead and trace out. So since I'm using the example of Bayview, and we saw that we got 0 results when we actually went in and did the search for Bayview, I'm going to go down to Bayview here. Back out just a little bit. So you can see I got all these white boundaries. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my shape out, defining the space of Bayview. So on the bottom of our toolbar here, we have several different tools that we can use for drawing. The first one here is draw a rectangle. So obviously a rectangle is going to draw a rectangle, a circle is going to draw a circle, and the one that I find most useful is draw a polygon. The polygon allows me to draw whatever free form shape I want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my polygon tool. You can see it highlighted in gray. I'm going to go to my starting point. I'm going to click. And then when you're drawing these shapes, you're going to click on your first spot and then take your finger off the mouse button, drag your mouse up to your next location, and then click again in order to tell the system I want another point there. Take my finger off the mouse button, drag it up to my next spot. And I'm just going to keep drawing around this shape, clicking on every corner that I want to add into. And you can see as I do that, the shape starts opening up with the blue line with the purple in the middle of it. I'm going to go ahead and mess up my shape a little bit right here so I can show you how to correct that. And just clicking everywhere I want to point and then taking my finger off the mouse button. And then when I'm happy with my shape, I'm going to double click. Tells the system that I'm done drawing. The important thing when you're drawing these shapes, I'm going to go ahead and do another one here, is you never want to cross over a line you've already drawn, even if it's just a little bit, because once you double click, you get yelled at and it says the polygon has sides that intersect and is not valid, please try again. So sometimes it may be a little frustrating if you accidentally do crossover. So just keep that in mind. So I've got my shape here now for Bayview, and you can see I actually do have results in here. It's my little counter's thinking here. All right, and while it's thinking, let's go ahead and edit that shape. So in order to edit this shape, actually, let me go up to the top here. So you can see now for part of my criteria, it says shape, and then it has polygon. So if I actually put my cursor over the word polygon, you can see it highlights in yellow, because I can draw as many of these shapes onto my map as I want to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and single click inside the polygon shape, and I'm gonna get this little balloon that pops up. Within this balloon, it says edit. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on edit. I'm going to give it a name so I can reuse this later on, and just calling it a polygon is probably not going to be too useful for me. I'm just going to call it Bayview KW because I have several of these. Then within this box, if I wanted to, I could change the color of my overlay. I'm just going to make it yellow. In order to edit this shape, I'm going to go within this box and just click on edit shape. You can see the screen changes and it puts these little orange dots on here for me. So from there, I would just go up to an orange dot, click and hold my mouse button, and just drag it down to where I want it to be. Just clicking and holding, dragging it down to where I want it to be. So if I'm happy with my corrections here, in the bottom right-hand corner, leave edit shape mode. I'm just gonna go ahead and click on that, and it takes me back to my search screen. So now you can see there actually are 39 properties located within the postal municipality of Bayview. And the great thing about this is since it's using the actual physical location of that property based upon the address, if I go ahead and save this and set up a subscription email for my customer, it's actually going to look at just that space. But again, I can do multiples of these, and I can actually save them in a file to reuse later on. The important thing to remember is when you're doing files like these, if I were to name a file Bayview and all it contained was Bayview, and then I also had a customer that, let's say, wanted Layton Park, and I put Layton Park as its own file, I would only be able to use one file at a time. However, if I save all these pieces under one file name, I've got them saved under Milwaukee area neighborhoods. I can go into that Milwaukee area neighborhoods and pull out whatever pieces I wanted to for that customer, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw another shape in real quick, just so I can show you how the save process works. So again, I'm gonna click on my polygon tool, highlights in gray, click on my first spot, take my finger off the mouse, and just click around. Anywhere I want a little point, I'm just gonna click. Okay, and then when you're happy with your shape, double click to tell the system that it's done. So now if you look on the left-hand side under shapes, it does say Bayview Keller Williams. And then it also does have just the polygon. Again, if I hover over them, it shows me which is which. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rename Layton Park real quick. I'm gonna single click inside of my polygon here, click on edit. Okay, that was interesting. And we are in the Galapagos. We are on vacation. Sorry about that. Give me a second here to get back to where we need to be. So I'm just going to go within that box. It's going to change the name from Polygon to Leighton Park. And then from here, while I'm in this box, this is where I go to actually save the shape for later use. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that Save to Map overlay. And you can see it gives me a couple of options here. The first option is, do I want to save this as a brand new overlay? If I wasn't adding this into an existing overlay, I would just enter in the name that I wanted to call this. And I do have this all started as part of another overlay. So I'm going to go ahead and click in the Add to Existing Overlay. I'm going to go down and find my Milwaukee area neighborhoods. The Milwaukee area neighborhoods. And then you can see under polygons, it's showing all the polygons I currently have on my map that I drew out. Only the Leighton Park one is currently highlighted because that's the one I clicked into in order to do the save. If I wanted to add this Bayview Keller Williams one, I can just go ahead and just put a check mark in whichever one I want to. Now I'm just going to click on save. You see it says saving overlays. Overlay has been saved. So now these two overlay pieces are going to be part of my larger existing overlay database. So again, I'm going to show you how to use that real quick. So I'm just going to click on my quick search in order to get a new map. And then from here, it does give me some options for overlays. It does them basically alphabetically. It doesn't quite make it down to my Milwaukee area neighborhoods one. So I'm going to use this browse. And you can see it gives me all of my map overlays that I've done up. So from here, I'm going to click on my Milwaukee area neighborhoods. It's going to show me everything that's within this file. Okay, so it's acting a little strange, but you can see on the bottom here, normally all of these overlay parts would be listed over on the right-hand side. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. But from here, I can go ahead and select on whatever ones I want to. Again, just holding down my control key in order to select multiples. Once I'm happy with that, I can just hit enter. And now you can see on the left-hand side, instead of saying just shapes like I did before, it's actually saying I'm using my Milwaukee area neighborhoods overlaid. And then from there, I've got the Bayview Keller Williams, Brewery Hill, and Brynwood. I'm not going to add in any other criteria, but we are going to go ahead and save this to our customer in order to use as a subscription. So in order to do that, in the upper right-hand corner here, we have email. This is if I want to just manually email these to my customer. I don't want to set up a subscription for them. And then right next to that, we do have save. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And then what do we want to do? Do we want to save the search? Save quick search template. So if I had gone and added additional criteria in here that I wanted to be able to use at a later date, I could use the save quick search template or save polygons as my overlay. What we're going to want to do is click on save search. So here we're going to give the search a name. So I'm just going to name this one color test. I can add a description of the email of what criteria is all in here if I wanted to, or make a little note. And under contacts, if we've already created the contact, we'll go to existing. If we hadn't created the contact yet and we had just done the search, from here I would just click in new and add in my person's information. I'm going to use my existing. Once I click in here, it gives me all of my options. So we're going to put this one under color test. Under additional search options, it says basically what do we want our customer to be notified of? Do we want when properties go on the market as brand new listings? If they were in withdrawn status and they come back, do you want them to receive an email saying, hey, this one's back on the market? Do you want them to receive any price changes, extensions? That doesn't work, so don't worry about that at all. Status change. I would make sure that one is always selected, because if a property goes from delayed status to active status, that status change is going to be the only trigger. So even if you have new, it's not going to trigger unless you have that status change selected for those delayed listings. And the last one is, do you want to be notified there's an open house on that property? Okay. Then you can select what view you want them to see it in. I'm just going to leave it as single family. Then I'm going to click on save and add subscription. So this actually is where you can determine different factors regarding that subscription email. So let's just start at the top and work our way down. So do you want to be notified as the agent working with that buyer when they open up that listing? If so, send me an email when a contact clicks the link. Do you want to receive all of those listings the same time that they're getting them? If so, you would put a checkbox in this U. And then there's also this selected contacts. So that's basically just going to be my Keller test contact who would be getting that list. The last thing down here is that enable preview mode. I used to sell real estate years ago, and this was way before this preview mode was an option. And I usually would go have all the listings sent to me. I'd go through them and then manually send them on to my customer. What this enable preview mode allows you to do, it's not going to send anything to your customer until you, as their agent, actually goes in and approves the listings to send to them. So, if you turn that on, just be mindful that you're going to have to physically go in and select which listings you want to send them. And if you don't select anything, your customer is not going to get any pieces of information. You will get an email yourself saying, hey, there's listings to approve. Or again, when you go into that contact management, it'll show listings to approve. Right below that, what schedule do you want them to receive information on? So if you want to just send the properties once a day, you can select which days you want them to receive those. If your customer only wants to receive listings like once a month, you can select monthly and which day of the month you want them to receive those. Then you also have ASAP and continuous. People get these two kind of mixed up a little bit. ASAP is relatively new, probably the last year or two that came in. So ASAP literally means as soon as possible. So within 10 to 15 minutes of that match being made in the system, your customers can get notification that, hey, this is a new property available for you. Continuous is up to 4 times a day. So basically you're looking early morning, early afternoon, early evening, and then there's kind of an overnight one. So I'm just going to go ahead and just click on continuous. And then from here, I can go ahead and add an email to them. Keep in mind that anything you put in this email is going to be used every single time your customer gets a subscription email from you. So if you just met them like at an open house the other day, I probably wouldn't put, hey, it was great meeting you at the open house. Because if you forget to go in and change this in a week or 2 or 3 from now, they're going to continue to get that email. So I would just personally leave it something, to the effect of, hey, here's some properties that match what you're looking for. Let me know which ones you'd like to see. Something along those lines. Okay, and then from there, if I'm happy with all of this, I'm going to go ahead and just click on save. And you can see I get this green box that pops up. Search and subscription saved. It's important to remember when you're setting up a subscription email, the subscription that we just set up is going to go from this moment in time forward. So any of these properties that matched, that I currently have matched as part of my criteria, these properties are not going to go out to my customer unless I manually send these out. So I actually can do that right from this green box. I can email these listings now, choose listings to email. So if I wanted to sort through them a little bit more, I could do that, or do not send listings now. I'm just going to go ahead and click on email these listings now. And then from here, what do I want them to receive? And I'm happy with that. So I'm going to click on email. And then it'll allow me to email from my email browser. Okay, I'm going to go back to see our search results here. So we have a few tabs that we have not talked about yet up here. The first is list. This basically just allows me to see the picture and give me basic information on my different property types. There's this where it says single family here. That's my default view, but there are different views and you can create views to show different pieces of information. So if you wanted to do, let's see what's a good one. So I'm going to do my Grafton test. Where to go? So once I select my different view, it's going to change things for me. So if I wanted to see certain pieces of information, I'm going to be able to do that right on here for me versus having to actually go into the individual listing and look for those items. The next one over is detail. Detail basically gives us the full sheet, all the information on it. Next one over is photos. It's going to allow me to see the photos of the property. We do not limit how many photos you get to see. It's going to basically, if someone has 50 photos uploaded, it's going to show you all 50 of those. Just keep in mind when you are uploading your photos that typically only the first 20 of those photos go out to third-party websites, so like realtor.com, homes.com, Zillow, Trulia, things like that, wherever you're syndicating your data to. It's also important to remember that some of those, just because we send out the first 20, they may only display the first 4 or 5 on their website. So it is important when you're uploading listing photos to put them in an order that makes sense, that you want to make sure that those first few photos are features you really want to highlight because they may not otherwise actually go out to or get displayed on those third-party websites. Okay, map is also going to basically just takes us right back to the map, allows us to see where the different properties are located. The one you currently have selected is going to be indicated with the star on your map. You also can pull up a satellite view, which is kind of nice. You actually can kind of see where the different houses lay out in comparison to each other, which I really like doing this. Let's go down to this area here. So now that we're on the satellite view, I actually can go to my bottom toolbar here, and there's this blue circle with the white eye. If I select that blue circle with the white eye and then click on my property here for me, it actually allows me to see what the property dimensions are. So the lot dimensions basically are 99 feet by 40 feet. It gives me this little pop-up that allows me to go directly to the tax information, whether that's through in wire data or in Monsoon. In most cases, it's going to give me the acreage for that property, and then it's also going to give me the listing history for that property. So from here, if I wanted to, I could actually go ahead and take a screenshot of this, showing the different property dimensions, and use that in my advertising if I wanted to. The compare feature just allows you to kind of look at the different prices along the way, gives you the average, median, low, and high. I also, if I wanted to, I could just save this as that search and then not set up a subscription email. If I set up a save search without that subscription, I can use it in a couple of different ways. If I wanted to run a specific hot sheet, I could just save the search and use that when I run my hot sheet. Or if I save the search and my customer doesn't have that subscription email, but they do have a portal set up, they would be able to see all that in their portal. Okay. I also could just print these listings if I wanted to, or the last option here is CMA. So if I am doing a CMA from here, I get all my properties, I can click on CMA, and it's going to ask me, do I want to use all of my results or just use ones that I've selected, select whichever one I want to, click on close, and then I can move forward with my CMA. Does anyone have questions on the features we just talked about? Again, feel free to use that chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself right now, that's fine as well. Okay, if not, we're going to go through a little bit on Monsoon. So Monsoon is a relatively new feature added into our system. We've always had the option of doing tax information. This is actually done through wire data. That's our third-party tax record company that we operate. They gather all the information, and then this is how it's displayed. There's a lot of searching options on here. It can get a little cumbersome. The nice thing is now that we have Monsoon, I find it a lot easier to kind of do my searches on. So Monsoon, we have a strategic partnership with the Arizona Regional MLS, bringing our combined membership up to about 50,000 agents. And Monsoon was a system that they had created for their area, and they actually went and now has our data incorporated into it as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on Monsoon so I can show you how this operates. This definitely is a huge time saver. And it is a single sign-on. So if I'm logged into Flex, it's gonna remember where I'm coming from. So there are a few different options when you're actually in Monsoon for searching. The first is at the very top here where it says owner, address, MLS number, or tax key. I can type in whatever address or name of a person that I want to and be able to search the tax records that way. I'm just go ahead and just use my address, and I'm gonna click on search. Actually, let me, 1 second. I changed my preferences before in a different session, so let me just change it back to the defaults here real quick. layout. And I will go through and show you how to change these layouts. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go to that property sheet. So on the property sheet, most of the information that you're going to be looking at is kind of over in this area, the upper right-hand corner. So it does have all the property address information for you. It does give you that it's taxed by Grafton, gives you the school district, latitude, longitude, all those kinds of things. Left-hand side, we do have a map feature, which is nice. It actually can put on there our sold listings and any properties that are active or contingent on this map, so we can kind of see what's going on around the area. This map is downloadable, which is nice. You can use that for some marketing stuff. Right below that, we've got the land area. So it has the acreage of the land. It also has it as a square footage for the land, structure information. So this is primarily where you're going to be coming when you get a new listing in order to find the lot size, the square footage, and the year built. It does give me some additional information about the property. I keep scrolling down. It gives us the deed history for that property, any loan information on that property, the assessment data for that property. It also gives us a graph form, the tax history, and on the bottom here, it's going to give us FEMA flood zone information. So if it wasn't a flood zone, it's going to give me an indicator here as to what type of flood zone that is. Since we've got an X in there, it's not in a flood zone. What I really like about this, this tool here is in the upper right-hand corner where it says area information. If I click on demographics, it gives my customer a lot of information about, so we're doing Grafton, so it's going to give us a lot of information about Grafton. So it gives us the population, number of households, average household size, the median age of residents, how many households have children. This information can be really useful if people aren't 100% sure where they want to live and are looking at a few different municipalities. It breaks it down with marital status, gender, housing information, all the quality of life information that comes from the census. That's all available in there. What I really like about this is when you go down to the bottom here, especially if they're not too familiar with the area, it actually gives them dining options and like bar options and things like that. And it also gives it to them as distance from the subject property. So if someone's new to an area, just being able to give them this sheet, you know, that shows, okay, this is all the, you know, the entertainment type stuff that's available for you, you know, in X number of miles from the subject property. So it's just kind of a nice way to make have yourself stand out. So that's the first way to search. Right now, there's only the demographic report in here. They will be adding additional reports. So you will at some point see additional drop-down information here. In order to go back to the homepage, I'm just going to click on Monsoon, the logo here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm in a different tab. I'm going to go back to my tax information sheet. Now when I click on Monsoon, it's going to take me back to my home screen. So that was the first way of searching, is using this bar. Another way is under tax search. And this is where it can get very convenient for trying to set up like farm areas, like mailing labels. I'm gonna go ahead and reset my counties. So from here, I can select what counties I want to work in. So I'm gonna do, just because I'm very familiar with it, I'm just gonna do Grafton. So I'm gonna type in Ozaki, and then under municipality, allows me to say, do I want the town or the village? I'm gonna click on village. If I didn't care as to what city I wanted to search in, I can just click on search all municipalities in this county. If I wanted to, I could add another county and another county and another county. Oh, yeah. Yes, so Sarah's asking, how did I get to Monsoon? There are a few different ways you actually can get to Monsoon. So I have Monsoon actually right on top of my favorites bar here. I also can go to menu and go down to taxes and click on Monsoon here. Or I can also type in met.mymonsoon.com and get to it that way as well. Sorry, forgot to tell you that part. So if I wanted to, I could add in, again, additional counties. I can select up to 10 different counties at a time. I'm just going to use Ozaki and Grafton for now. And I'm going to click on my save selections. Since I clicked on save selections, next time I come back into Monsoon, it's going to automatically have that saved in there for me. So if I wanted to change my county, I would just go ahead and click on Reset County Selection. But from here, it does allow me to search on different tax info pieces. So if I wanted to search on part of the legal description or assess values, there's additional features under this Add, Modify, and Reorder fields. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click on that. And I can, if I wanted to add in basement information to search on that, I can select that. Effective year built. I can select as many of these as I want to, and they're all just gonna appear in my menu tree for me. I also can rearrange these just by clicking and holding on the move on the left-hand side there, dragging it up to where I want it to be, letting go. And then if I want to save this, I can just click on Save. What's really great about this, again, if you're trying to do mailing labels, as you all know, right now the market is really tight, inventory is really low. You may want to do a custom market or a custom mailer to a customer or to a potential customer saying, hey, I see you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in this area. I've got a customer looking, would you be interested in selling? So I can select, whatever information I want to in here. And then I actually can draw out the shape, just like we went through the overlays. It works pretty much the same way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the area that I live in so I can show you this. If you ever tried to create mailing labels before in wire data, it's a little cumbersome. You have to do street ranges and things like that. But in here, I can just go ahead and draw. So let's say I want to mark it to this area right here. At the top, I've got the circle, just like in Flex, it draws a circle, rectangle draws a rectangle, and polygon draws a polygon. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my polygon around that area that I want to create labels for. So I'm going to go ahead and click my first spot and take my finger off the mouse, just like I did in Flex. Click my next spot, click my next spot, and just trace around that shape, only clicking when I want to add a spot. Unlike in Flex, in order to tell the system that I'm done drawing, I'm just gonna go back to that original point that I drew, and I'm gonna click right back onto it. And then from here, you can see it has my polygon brought up. Okay, so right now, I don't have any results. The important thing to remember when you're using Monsoon is that you always have to click on Search when you change criteria. Unlike Flex MLS, you draw your shape out, add a piece of criteria, and it automatically starts calculating for you. So you want to remember to always use Search. I'm just going to click on Search. It's going to think for a few seconds here. And right now, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, I've got 792 results. I don't have any other criteria in here. You can narrow it down as much as you like. But from here, in order to see this information, next to Map, I've got cards and rows. So I'm going to click on Cards. And Cards basically is just going to bring up a little card snapshot view. If I click on Rows, it basically takes the picture away, but it does give me the year built, lot size, square footage, things like that. And if I wanted to actually use all these as a mailing, I've got a couple of options. One, if I wanted to go and just hand pick which properties I want to use, I would just go ahead and put little checkboxes in here. If I wanted to select an entire page, I would use the select page, but it's only selecting one page at a time. So if I wanted to go in and do page 2, I'd have to go to page 2 and put the select in there. If I wanted to use all of my results, I'm going to leave everything unselected. And at the very top here, I've got 2 options. The first is export. So I can export whatever data I want to. So if I click on export, you can see everything that it would pull out for me. Anything that's in blue is going to be highlighted, what we're actually exporting. But the default is all of these options are going to be checked for you. So if you don't want to do a huge, every piece of information about that property, you can go and select everything. So I can select all at the upper right-hand corner here. Now you can see everything selected. Instead of going through and individually deselecting everything, I can select none, and let's go ahead and click on the piece of information that I want, and I can export this data as a CSV file and then manually create my labels. But the system will actually do that for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Labels. It's going to ask me, what do I want to print on these? Use property address with the owner's name, use the mailing address with the owner's name, use property address labeled current resident, use mailing address current resident, or use property address labeled with owner or current resident, select my label, create my PDF, and then I can go ahead and print from there. So let's say I have my area set up and I want to save it. All I have to do is on the left-hand side here, click on save. It's going to ask me to give it a name. So call it Grafton Avenues Test and click on save. So anytime I want to go ahead and redo mailing labels, I can just go to my save searches. So new is where we go into add our information. Recent, it's just going to give us what we recently did. Saved, it's going to give us all of our current saved options. So from here, I can go ahead and click on my Grafton Avenues Test, use the little right arrow. It's going to rethink, and it's going to pull up all my results for me again. But it's going to update it based upon, and if there was an owner change, it's going to update that owner information as well. So that's the second way of searching. I'm going to go ahead and click back on my Monsoon to go to my main tab here. The last one is actually an MLS search. So if I click on that, this gives me more options to search on features like I would inside of the MLS. So if I wanted to search on bedrooms and bathrooms here, I could go ahead and do those criteria. And just like inside of the tax search, I can add additional fields and reorder them. So if I wanted to add lot square footage, half baths, it allows me to search on pretty much every criteria or similar criteria as you did in the MLS. And then click on save. And again, it's important to remember that anytime you add a new criteria in, as far as like a list price or whatever, you're clicking on search. Otherwise, it's not going to change your results for you. Okay. So I'm not going to go through, but it works the exact same way. So from there, I want to do the map. I can click back on the map, draw my map shape, call it a day. There are some map options in here. So if I wanted to actually search on flood zone information, by zip code information, secondary schools information, all those kinds of things, that does appear in here as well for me. Okay, the last thing I want to show you on the Monsoon homepage is preferences. So Monsoon does allow you to customize how your reports look. So I'm going to click on preferences. And from here, I can select a color. So the default is going to be blue, but I can also make it green, hot pink, red rose, orange juice, purple rain. We'll just keep it at purple rain because that's fun. If I wanted to hide pieces of information on this report, like maybe I don't need my customer to see the loan history. I can go up here and click on hide. That's going to, you can see it gets rid of that loan history for me on this report. I can change these pieces of information around. So let's say the first thing I want them to see on that property is the tax information. I can click and hold this and drag it up and drag it up to my top, and it's going to automatically readjust everything for me. So if I wanted to move the tax history up as well, I can put that up here. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Layout. And now anytime I do a report, you're going to see that it actually goes and it's going to use that formatting for me. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this address back up. I must not have saved the color selection, but you can see the assessed history is now at the top, the tax history, and then everything else just got moved down and kind of put out of the way. You also can see that our loan history is now gone as well from this report. Any questions on this or anything else? I know I kind of threw a lot at you in a short period of time.
I have two questions.
Sure.
The first question is, when did all this stuff start to get digitized? So how far back did records go when you talk about, houses turning over and things like that?
Yeah, so the tax information, that company's been around for I think about 30 years or so now. So it does go back pretty far if you wanted to go that far back. Typically on these reports though, we give you about the last 10 years or so.
Okay, and then on the other end, say a house sells, how soon does it appear corrected in Monsoon or MLS?
Sure, so we get information from the individual counties or municipalities. The goal is to get the sold data updated on a monthly, if not quarterly basis. They are a little behind right now. with this tax changeover. They kind of had to change their process and how they did it. So the goal is monthly, definitely by the end of the quarter. And then on a yearly basis, they do go through and update the actual taxes for the previous year.
So is Monsoon any more accurate than MLS, and does it replace, wire data? And does it replace wire data? Is there anything wire data can do that Monsoon can't do?
So basically, all the information that you see, whether it's in wire data or Monsoon, is information that has been collected through wire data. So all the data should be the same back and forth. We are looking for additional sources of information since we don't always get all the information that we request from the different municipalities. So the information should be the same in both. They basically have the same search capabilities. I just find that Monsoon is a lot easier to use, especially since you're using quick search inside of Flex. It functions in a lot more logical manner, in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up tax information so you can kind of see this. So in wire data, you actually have to select your counties before you even start, and you can select a maximum of 4, and then save your counties. And then from here, you can do address, just like you can inside of Monsoon. This will allow you to do address ranges. The only thing that this was really good for, and when I say really good for, it's not fun to use, is to actually go in and say, okay, I want all the tax information on this street from this house number to this house number. So basically, the drawing tool inside of Monsoon replaced this. You can search on the owner's name just like you can in Monsoon. Same thing with the tax key number. It's just a lot more compact inside of Monsoon versus having to go from all these different tabs to do your searching.
Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions? Great. If not, again, my name is Jared. If you need to get a hold of me, you definitely can call the number here. It's 414-778-5400. Or if you want to shoot me an email, that works too. It's just Jared, Jared, @metromls.com. So have fun out there. If you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.